One of the next big upcoming mainline Pokemon games has been leaked a couple of weeks ago, and we still don't exactly know what it is. But we do know that the Pokemon Company, Gamefreak, and Nintendo, they absolutely love to tease and hint at their future games, and they give every single Pokemon game a code name. The Scarlet and Violet DLC codename was Sudachi, which we're going to talk about in this video. We actually have a lot to discuss today, and this is super interesting stuff to me. Like, this is the stuff that I love to talk about. And we also have some news to cover later in this video that I take as pretty good news overall. Okay, so the secret mainline Pokemon game that we don't know about, what we do know is the codename of it, is Project Karasu. So this was leaked about a month and a half ago. I made videos, talking about what it could be. It could be a Generation 2 game because it's Murkrow. Murkrow is a Gen 2 Pokemon. So maybe it's a Legends Johto or just like a Johto-based game, a remake, original Gold and Silver ports. But the interesting thing with that is we know that this is not a spin-off. It's a mainline game, and it is apparently a brand new title. It's also not the Generation 10 Winds and Waves DLC. So with that being said, if it's a mainline brand new Pokemon game and not like a remake or a port of an older game, it has to be either a Legends game, a new generation, which it could be Gen 11. It genuinely could be Generation 11. It's probably not though, but I brought this up a couple days ago. We actually do have Generation 11 on the TerraLeak leak, slated future games. So Generation 11, believe it or not, isn't too far-fetched to actually, say that is in existence as of right now. They could be throwing us a curveball and are working on maybe like another brand new type of mainline series games, because the Legends games are mainline, and of course like Gen 8, 9, 10, whatever. Those are mainline Pokemon games. So maybe they're gonna come up with a brand new mainline series that they could drop, every couple of years, just to spread things out a little bit more, you know what I'm saying? So with that quick recap out of the way about what Karasu is, I would really appreciate if you guys could subscribe to the channel and help me reach my goal of 50,000 subscribers, and so you don't miss all Pokemon news, leaks, and updates. Alright, let's get right on to all the info. Jordan saying interesting thing about the Scarlet Violet DLC codename Sudachi. So that was the codename for the Scarlet Violet DLC. Sudachi is a citrus, but Sudachi also does mean leaving the nest, which we do by leaving Paldea, because of course the DLC took us to, Blueberry Academy, and then we also had Kitakami, so two different areas and two different regions, which was really cool. I actually really liked the Scarlet Violet DLC. If you played it, let me know how you liked it, because I actually thought it was pretty good. So I'm hoping that Winds and Waves DLC is going to be good as well, because there's definitely going to be a DLC for that game. So it captures the spirit of both DLC, so it's not called Sudachi because of Ogerpon. Ogerpon is a citrus because of Sudachi. That's a crazy idea, like, oh my goodness, but that makes perfect sense, right? Like 100% that makes sense. Jordan then saying maybe Karasu is a Team Rocket centered game because we have at least 2 examples of Gamefreak associating crows with the mob. And now a very slight spoiler for Pokopia, so skip like 20 seconds if you don't want to hear it, or if you just don't care, you could play it. Pokopia also talks about Team Rocket getting a brand new leader after they were disbanded by Giovanni. Could a legend several years later where Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Gold and Silver left off, similar to Z8 taking place a few years after X and Y, preferably based in Johto and not just Kanto? Wouldn't be my ideal Legend Johto game unless they put some time travel in there so we get the beast to be revived. Gotta put Celebi in there anyways, because Celebi is the time travel Pokemon, so that's where that comes into play. Maybe introduce a new shadowy counterpart to the rainbow bird, Ho-Oh, or Karasu, just a vibe like Hayabusa, hopefully I'm pronouncing that word right, fitting in the wilderness of Legends Arceus. If it's a rebrand or a different take on Ringo, which is Legends Galar, because some people do think that Karasu could just be like a redone version of Legends Galar, which could be anything. I think crows could fit the vibe of the darkest day. Now all that does sound really cool, honestly, because if they are gonna give us like another game kind of like Legends ZA, maybe Legends Johto, or like I said, it could be like a brand new title that takes place after, Heart Gold and Soul Silver, or just, original Gold and Silver. That would be really cool, especially like the fact of time travel. Like imagine we actually got to get Celebi to see the beast be revived. Like that would be cool, because that's always like the biggest lore piece in Generation 2 that we need to see. Like that would be so sick. And Johto needs a new game. We haven't had a Johto game since Heart Gold and Soul Silver, which came out a long time ago. I do think it's time. I really do think that one of the next upcoming Pokemon games is Gen 2 or Gen 5. It just makes sense. Kanto's had a lot of love this year. Fire Leaf Green being brought over to the Switch, and the Switch 2 we had Pokopia, which is Kanto. Gen 4 had a remake, it also had a Legends game, and then Gen 5 has had nothing. Gen 6 obviously just had its brand new Legends game. Gen 7 is possible, but I feel like they're not going to really do anything with the Alola region anytime soon, because I feel like in their eyes it's still new, even though, it came out over 10 years ago. And then of course Gen 8 and 9 are definitely very new, even though apparently we're getting a Gen 8 Legends game, but definitely not Gen 9. So I feel like Gen 2, 3, and 5 are probably like the most logical options. Okay, so the word Karasu, like Sudachi, also has two meanings. One of the meanings is crow, which I covered a couple weeks ago, but I didn't actually know that the other meaning was to wither, which you can see this might actually be connected to Calyrex, which is Generation 8. And it says Calyrex is known as the king of bountiful harvest by the crown tundra's inhabitants due to its role in bringing lush vegetation and harvest yearly. Its right hand can cause the land to be covered in verdant grass and blooms, while its left hand allows it to make fields of fruit ripen and become heavy. Calyrex can grow either ice root or shade root carrots, so would still be a Legends Galar game. That's where that theory comes into play, like, well, what if this is just still a Generation 8 Legends game, just completely reworked from the ground up? Because what we do know from the Terra leak is that the original Legends Galar game that has been planned is supposed to take place 1,000 years in the past. So it'd be an ancient Pokemon game based in the Galar region, and I think that's awesome. I think the lore, Eternatus, everything about that is just so cool. The fact that it takes place in the UK, like, there's so much about a Legends game that takes place 1,000 years in the past in Galar that I love. I want to know your thoughts about Karasu. What exactly do you think it is? Like I said, they might be throwing us a complete curveball. Like, it might be something that we have no idea at all. And of course, I will update you guys as soon as we get more information on that. So finally, we have the division involving the Pokemon brand, which has always generated a lot of discussion. Nintendo, they manufacture the sales of the games. Gamefreak, they plan and develop the games. And then Creatures, they develop the TCG and the 3D models for the games. And the reason I'm saying this is good news is because we've seen Pokemon struggle. We have seen them struggle over the last couple of years, I guess, with certain things. Of course, they have done some things amazingly well. Some things have been done perfectly. And then a lot of other things have been done, I don't know, kind of controversially, I guess would say. Having like a list like this to split out and see exactly where all these companies like are working together. And of course, there's Pokemon Works with Ilka, and that's a whole other discussion. But the more that they kind of organize things, it's going to be better for us. It's going to make it better for us because we'll probably get better products. And like, not even just to mention the cards, the TCG cards, like the TCG stuff has been crazy. Like the artwork is incredible. It's booming over there. But for the games, they definitely need to organize that stuff because a lot goes into these Pokemon games, right? Like everything with the models, the Pokemon, the names, the colors, like literally every single thing about the games, they have to go so in depth with. And of course, Pokemon is split into 3 different companies, which is really interesting. I mean, it's kind of bizarre, but I am honestly really hopeful for the future of the franchise. Like, even though we have had some misses, I feel like we've had a lot of hits as well. And just like, look at the internet. Pokemon is on fire with the games and the cards and just the hype around it as a whole. I just wanted to bring this up, even though like this is not necessarily new, just because of the fact that people point fingers all over the place, like, who's making the Pokemon games? Like, why is this bad? Is this Nintendo's fault? Is it Gamefreak? Creatures, they don't typically get brought up in that conversation as much, I feel like. Sometimes it makes me think that because Pokemon is split up between 3 different companies, I mean, it's gotta get confusing, man. Like, there has got to be things behind the scenes that do get really confusing. Sometimes it makes you wonder, like, does that affect the result of any Pokemon games? My assumption is probably no, but I don't know. I figured I'd bring this up. Once again, I've been seeing a lot of people discuss this online recently. I want to know your thoughts about that. Huge shout out to Jordan for coming up with all these crazy theories over here. And if you are real and watching this from the video, comment down below your favorite ground type Pokemon of all time. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Someone